There'll always be a latecomer. Right, so we're going to do some standing up exercises today. I'm going to do the warm-up standing up as well, and then concentrate on some strength and balance exercises. And as always, if you're not happy or you want to take a rest, then please take a rest. Have a sit down, have a slurp of water. You're in your own homes, so you don't have to go too far to make yourself comfortable. It is a warm day, and it has been a warm day, and it's been a warm week. You might not realise it, you might not think it, but you might be a little bit dehydrated. I know I am. And that obviously can affect your exercise. So just try and take it easy. As I say, it's all going to be stood up stuff. So if you've got your chair handy or something to hold on to, that'd be great. But I will do the cool down and the stretches sat down. All right. I've got 11 exercises on my board. We might not get through all of them. Some are more mobility exercises rather than specific strength exercises. I'm going to go straight into posture first of all, though, before we get into the warm-up. I talked earlier in the week about muscle memory, so about how it feels, so that when you're out and about studying the post office queue, you can automatically kind of switch into your muscle memory of good posture. So we're going to stand with your feet about hips width apart. So I just want you to, if you've got, oh, hang on a minute, we've got a latecomer. Hang on, who's this? Sheila Nelson. Hang on a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. Hang on, let me just check the here. Sorry. Are you there, Sheila and John? Where have you gone? Right. Hello, Sheila and John, if you're there. We're just doing a little bit of posture. We're stood up, by the way, so I can't see you. I'm going to assume that you're there. So if you're in your stocking feet or you're in your shoes, I just want you to think about being nice and flat, if you like, on both feet. So try and get a real good contact through the feet to the ground. You might have a tiny little bend in the knee, so we're not pushing our knees back. We're not locking our knees back. And we're just going to try and tilt the pelvis just forward a little bit. And I'm not sure if you can see that. So we're trying, imagine your pelvis is a bowl and you're just trying to just tuck it under slightly. So we're not like this. We're trying to be more like this. And then just standing up nice and tall. I don't care what you do with your arms. Just let them hang down by your sides. I'm trying to create that separation between each vertebra. So we're standing up as tall as we can and get that sensation of being pulled up towards the ceiling, but your feet nice and strong, nice and stuck to the ground. And then we can just relax. And things kind of just sort of like slump, don't they? You don't realise you're doing it. So nice and tall again. Feel yourself being pulled up towards the ceiling. This time with our shoulders. We're going to lift our shoulders up, roll your shoulders back, and then just let them drop. So you might feel them being pulled back slightly, and then relax there. All right, let's get on to the warm-up. So you've got your chair or your support or whatever it is you're using today. You can hold on to that, and we're just going to be marching on the spot just to start off with. I've got the wrong colour socks on, haven't I? I should have put my orange ones on. You can see my feet. Sorry about that. We're not long back from work. So we're kind of aiming just to start off with a walking pace. I'm not going to go hell for leather today with the warm-up because, as I say, it is a warm day. And I don't want to exert you too much. We're just going to try and conserve as much energy as possible for the exercises. But we'll still get through a warm-up and you'll certainly get the blood going. You'll get the heart rate up. And we're going to limber up our joints as well. So you've got your hand in contact with the chair. Your feet are bobbing up and down. Do make sure your feet are coming off the ground. And as always, we're trying to land on the toes and then roll the foot to the heel when you're moving your feet up and down. If you're feeling comfortable, you can let go of the chair or the support, and we're just giving those arms just a little bit of a swing. So marching pace, walking pace, if you can. A little bit of a swing of the arms. You might feel a bit foolish. This wouldn't be how you would normally walk. Or I wouldn't like to think you'd normally walk like this. So I'm just going to turn. I'm going to turn from different viewpoints, so you can see me from all sides. So we're going to use our arms just a little bit more. This time we're going to bend from the elbow and push those elbows backwards and forwards. It's a little bit more purposeful. A little bit more effort required through the shoulders and through the back. And you'll start to feel that heart rate creeping up. We're not lifting our feet up too high, but you certainly are using those thigh muscles, straightening and bending those knees and getting the mobility through the ankle joints. This time we're going to reach forward with our arms. If you're still feeling just a little bit, you know, not too sure, you can always keep one hand in contact with your chair. The other arm you can reach forwards and backwards. Entirely up to you, depending on how you're feeling today. Just nice and rhythmical. We're not punching. We're just stretching out those arms, feeling it through the front of the shoulders and the chest. Beautiful, lovely, very nice. We're going to reach up. No, you might not be able to see my arms. Might just be out of shot of the camera. You get the idea. Just stretching up and keeping those feet moving. And then reaching forward with those hands. And then back to our marching again. We are going to change the feet now. This time we're going to do a toe tap forwards. So stepping forward, well, not really stepping forward. You're reaching forward with your toes. It's a bit like a ballerina would, where they're stretching out. Not that I've ever been a ballerina. I did do ballet once, but I would never consider myself a ballerina. God, that was awful. So reaching forward with those toes anyway to stretch out through the ankle and the foot. If you can manage that opposite arm and leg with the arm swing, wouldn't that be amazing? And then we're going to reach with the heel. That's it. And then toes, so stretching out those toes. And then going with the heel. Just dabbing those heels down. You don't need to drive the heel into the ground. Just dabbing it down. And back to normal marching. So we're just going to try and speed it up just a little bit. And lift those knees up a little bit higher. Being a bit more purposeful with those elbows. Just want to get that heart rate up at just a little bit. I'm not having you sprinting on the spot or anything like that today. You'd be grateful to know I'm not going to do fast punches or star jumps or anything like that. Just going to try and maintain this slightly increased pace. You carry on doing that, don't stop. Got someone else joining us. Who's this? We've got Corinne. There we go. Let's let Corinne in the room. Corinne has timed her approach nicely because we're just about to finish that little high intensity effort. So just lowering the speed, lowering the pace, just bringing those knees down and then just keeping your feet in contact with the floor, but just sort of pedaling the feet up and down and then bringing those arms just to a gentle swing. Fabulous, good, and relax there. So still standing with your feet about shoulder width apart, tiny little bend in the knees. We're going to do some rotations through the shoulders. So I want you to touch your shoulders if you can, and then we're going to roll those elbows forwards. So rolling those elbows around as much as you can, just nice and slowly. I know there might be some cracks and grating noises coming from your body right now. So adjust the movement depending on how you see fit. And then we're going to go in the other direction. And we're just going to steady there. Keeping that tiny little bend in your knees. We're going to put one forearm on top of the other. Keep those backs nice and straight. That muscle memory I talked about at the start. And then we're going to try and rotate the torso. Think about moving from the waist as you go from side to side. So we've got soft knees here. We don't want straight, stiff knees because it puts a lot of pressure through the knee joint, which isn't healthy. We want the movement to come from the waist. Talking about the waist, arms down by the side, roll your shoulders back. And then we're just going to do some fairly mobile side bends. So sliding each hand down the side of your leg to get that movement again through the lower back and the side. Nice and easy. Fabulous, and relax there. I'm going to take a step forward. I don't mind which leg you take a step forward with, just a bit of a bend in that front knee. Bring both hands up to the front of your shoulders, excuse me. And then extending both arms out to the front like you're doing a press up, and then pulling those hands all the way back. As you push forward, stretching out the back, and as you come back, you're stretching out the chest and shoulders. So just in your own time, pushing away, pulling back. Nice and smooth. You don't have to race it, not rushing, just concentrating on getting that movement through the torso. Lovely. And steady there. Change the position of your legs. This time we're going to do the ball throw. So we're going to pick up an imaginary ball. Just a little bit of a bend in that front knee. Nice and solid on both feet. Pick up your imaginary ball and then throwing that ball overhead. Not too vigorously because I don't want you to overcook it, lose your balance. Certainly don't want you falling over. So we get that movement through the elbows and the upper arm. Lovely, and relax there. So a little bit of more of the warm up through the legs. Hold on to your chair. I do strongly recommend holding on to your support. Any leg, don't mind weights, just lift it up, and then just as if you're kicking your tyres of the car, just kicking forwards. We do this when we're sat down. I don't want you thinking that you're Bruce Lee and you're kicking something hard, because I don't want you putting that impact through the knee joint, but I certainly want you to use those thigh muscles and to loosen the knee. Onto the ankle, so we're going to flex that foot, that ankle up and down. Lovely, and side to side, and then a circle, and then circling that foot in the other direction. Lovely. The other leg for me, please. Same again, just lifting up. And as if you're just giving your tyres a bit of a kick, so a low kick towards the shin area. Using those thigh muscles and just getting a little bit of movement through that knee. And now just the ankle forwards and backwards. And side to side. And then a circle in one direction. And circling the other way. Okay, and we're going to do a bit with our hips. And again, I strongly recommend just holding onto your support, standing up nice and tall, a leg, don't mind which. We're going to lift up, keeping that knee bent, move it out to the side, drop it down, and then slide it back into the start. Your other legs, we're going to alternate, up, out, down, and in. Other leg, up, out, down, and in. Other leg, up, out, down, and in. One more on each side, up, out, down, in. Finally, up, out, down, and in. We are going to go in the other direction. So pick a leg, we're going to slide, we're going to lift, bring it into the center, and down. The other leg, slide, lift, in, down. Opposite leg, slide, lift, in, down. Other leg, slide, lift, in, and down. One more on each side, slide, lift, in, and down. And finally, slide, lift, in, and down. Just give your hands a shake. Egg whisks. Up and down. Egg whisk again. And then fingers in and out. Shoulders up and down. Roll your shoulders backwards. Fabulous. Okay, so steady there. I'm not going to do any more. That's enough for today for our warm-up. Going to go straight on to our first exercise. The first exercise is almost a continuation of our warm-up. And we're going to mobilise our hip area and our lower back. We did do this a couple of weeks ago. I said it's one of my favourite exercises. I do it as part of my warm-up before I go running. So we're going to do it now as a continuation of our warm-up. It's the hinge, the squat, and then the lean. We're going to tie those three movements in together. I want you to stand, please, with your feet about shoulder width apart, just a fraction wider than shoulder width apart, and then stand up nice and tall. So we're back to our muscle memory for our posture. We're going to stand up nice and tall. And you're going to try, even though we're going to move our bodies, we're going to try and keep our back in this lovely straight position. So even though we're going to change direction, our back is going to stay long. So from this position, we're going to push our bum backwards until we start to feel a pull through the bum and through the back of the thigh. So I'm a bit stiff in my hamstrings as always. So I'm about there, that position there. So my back is still straight. I haven't rounded forwards and keeping my back straight, and I'm feeling that pull through the back of my bum and into my hamstrings. I'm going to keep this position, and yet I'm going to bend my knees, almost like I'm going to sit down, and then I'm going to straighten my knees, and then I'm going to come up tall, keeping that back straight. I'm now going to push my hips to one side, come back upright, and then push my hips. So I'm not leaning with my shoulders. I want to push my hips over to the other side and then come back to center. So we're going to speed that up and do a few more. Okay, so up nice and tall, hips back, keep the back long, bend the knees, straighten, come up with a long back, push your hips to one side, back to center, hips across to the other side, back to center. Here we go again. Bum backwards, keep that back long, bend your knees, straighten, stand up tall, long back, hips to one side, center, hips to the other side. And then we're just going to do it one more time. Keep that length in your spine, even though you push your hips backwards from the hips, bending those knees, straighten the knees, come up, keep the back straight, push your hips across to one side, back to center, across to the other side, and back to center. And then just relax there. Just have a little breather if you want to have a breather. Have a drink of water if you need to have a slurp of water. I'm going to have one. So that little sequence just serves to keep your hips and the lower back, the very, very base of your spine, just to try and keep that mobility without moving the upper part of your back. We're not doing this movement. Everything comes from the hips with that particular movement, that sliding of the hips as we push them from side to side. The next exercise I'm going to do is I'm going to do the tightrope balance sequence. I'm going to do it now, or you're still relatively fresh. So you've got your support. Hold on to it to start off with. Don't worry, as we go along, you'll have the option to take the hand off the chair to make the exercise more difficult if you want to. As always, you can keep in contact with your support throughout if you need to. It's not a problem at all. So we're going to start off in the tightrope stand. I want you to imagine there's a tightrope in front of you. I don't mind which leg you want to start off to be your lead foot. Just remember which one is your lead foot, because when we switch legs, you don't want to forget. Do the same side twice. So a leg is going to swing round, and you're going to place the front heel in line with the toes of your back foot. And I'm sorry, apologies for wearing the wrong coloured socks and having a brown carpet. So I'll do my best to describe. So your feet are in a line, almost like you stood on that tightrope. So let's do this nice and slowly. Both feet flat on the floor. Got your hand resting lightly on your support. You're not gripping it too tightly. And then we're back on that muscle memory to lengthen our spines, nice and tall. Fix on something ahead of you that isn't going to move, so don't look at me. And I just want you to settle into this position just for a few moments first of all. I'm going to keep quiet. You can start, if you want to, experiment with your hand position, perhaps lift it off the top of the chair. Or if you're feeling pretty good with your balance today, let it go all together. Just keeping your hands nice and soft just in front of you. You can always put your hand back down if you want to. Okay, so this is the one where the pressure builds through the back leg. So let's see how you get on. What I want you to do is I want you, if you want to put your hand back down on the chair, that's fine. So without moving your feet, I want you to gently lean back so the weight comes over your back leg, which allows you to lift the toes up of your front foot. So most of the weight now is on that back leg. Keep it nice and tall. And this is where the pressure starts to build in that back leg. Experiment with your hand. Try and stay tall. And then from this position, your front foot now comes off the ground just a couple of inches. So now you're stood on one leg. Use your support if you need to. I know that pressure's building in that back leg. Just a few more moments. Very nice. Okay, relax there. Both feet on the ground. Relax. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. Shake your hips out if you want to. Okay, we're going to do the other side. I'm just going to turn around so you can see my other profile. So just giving you a few moments just to shake out that tension from the hip. I know you feel it. I feel it too. All right, so we're going to do that little sequence again. We're going to start off with the tightrope position, the one where both feet are flat on the floor. Your tired leg should be the one now that swings around to be the lead foot on your imaginary tightrope. So as before, we're thinking about both feet being flat on the floor. We're trying to keep our weight even, so we're not too far forwards. We're not leaning back. We're keeping nice and tall with our postures. We're trying to maintain that separation in our vertebra. And whatever support you're using, you're just resting that hand lightly on your support. Looking forward at something that isn't going to move. And again, I'm just going to let you settle into this position. Please experiment with your hand position, depending on how you're feeling today. Okay, you can put your hand back on your support if you want to as we transition to the next bit. This is where we gently come back, so our body weight goes over our back leg. We're changing our center of gravity, and the toes of our front foot come off the ground. The heel stays in contact with the ground, so we're on 1 and a bit feet. Again, nice and tall. That pressure, that effort will build really quickly in that back hip. Keep your discipline. Keep your posture. Experiment with your hand position as you see fit. Concentrating on that fixed point. And then the final transition to lift that front foot off the ground a few inches. Now you stood on one leg. Now those muscles, those hips are working so hard. Just a few more moments. Lovely. Okay, I'm relaxed there. Both feet on the ground. Give your legs a bit of a shake. And shake them out this way as well if you need to. Give your hips a bit of a shake. How are we doing? All right. Remember, just have a seat. If you want to take a seat, I won't be offended at all. Go and get a drink. Whatever it is you need to do, that is fine. Okay. So the next exercise, I'm going to do some lunges. I'm going to do alternating lunges. It's a fairly dynamic exercise. You can use your support if you want to. I'm going to talk you through just a few points I want you to consider. So, first of all, you need to make sure you've got some space in front of you. So, not the coffee table. You certainly don't want to be right behind your chair, otherwise you're not going to have room to do your lunge. Think about your knees. Go with where you can go with your knees, all right? So you don't need to be genuflecting down all the way down to the ground. A shallow knee bend, if it's good for you, do a shallow knee bend. You don't need to copy exactly what I'm doing. So we're going to alternate. So it doesn't really matter which leg you start off with. We're going to stand up nice and tall. A leg, your favourite one, is going to take a big step forward. The bigger, the better. Your back heel comes off the ground. We keep our chest lifted. And then we're going to bend both knees. Keep your chest lifted. Bend both knees. Straighten. Push off that front foot to come all the way back to the start position. So you need some strength in that leg to push back. Here we go. We're going to do the other leg. Might be different. See how it feels. Big step forward. Heel off the ground. The back heel off the ground. Chest up. Bend both knees. Straighten. Push back to standing. Got it? Okay. I'm not going to speed it up. Well, I might speed it up a little bit. No, I'll do less talking. All right, here we go. Big step, heel, knees, straighten, push. Other side, big step, back heel, bend knees, straighten, drive back to start. We're working out today, aren't we? Here we go. Big step. Heel, bend, straighten, drive back to that start position. The other leg. Big step. Back heel, chest up as you bend both knees, straighten, push back. We're going to do one more on each side. I think I've got that right. Big step. Back heel, bend both knees, straighten, drive back. Last one. Big step, back heel, chest up, bend knees, drive back. Okay, so I like doing lunges. When you're in your lunge position here, yes, it's all strength. You know that because you're bending both knees. But this hip here is being stretched, which is a good thing. We spend a lot of our time sat down, don't we? So our hip flexors shorten, they get tighter. So by doing these kind of exercises where we're lunging and we get that stretch through the front here, that's a good thing. It helps our postures. Rather than being this, we're more like this. Right, what's next? Ooh, side leg raises. So for this one, just need to make sure you've got some room to the side. So if you are stood behind your chair, unless you're up against the wall like I am, that's perfect. I'm going to stand at quirky angles because I can. In fact, I'm going to stand this side now. So, standing up nice and tall, both feet next to each other. Choose a leg, I don't mind which. Keep your chest up so you're not moving your torso for this one. The movement is coming from the hip. We're going to push that hip out to the, push that foot out to the side and then bring it back to the center position. Same leg, push out to the side, coming back to the center. What I want you to think about when you're doing this is keeping those hips pointing forwards. When you push your foot out, try and point your foot forward. So we don't want to be turning our foot towards the ceiling or towards the wall or the kitchen. We want to try and keep our foot pointing forward. So push out, hold it, you'll feel that hip, and then back to the start. Push out and back. If you're feeling brave, let go. You don't have to feel brave for this one. I want it to be a strength exercise. It shouldn't, or it doesn't have to be a balance exercise. Keep that chest up. You're not moving your torso, you're not leaning across. The only movement should come from the hip to move that leg. Got it? We're feeling that? Just relax there, give those legs a bit of a shake. We're going to do the other side. Excuse me. So exactly the same. Keep your chest lifted, movement from the hip. It might feel different from the other side. Push across. Keeping those hips pointing forward, trying to keep your foot pointing forward. Avoid the temptation to rotate your toes round. So pushing out. If you're using your support, we're not leaning across like this. We're just resting that hand on the chair. Beautiful, lovely. Okay, one more on this side. Fabulous, good. Okay, relax there. Give those legs a bit of a shake. I'm going to make that a little bit harder. If you want to. If you want to. So back to the first leg. Oh, who's this now? Blimey, they're late, aren't they? I'm sure I said, did I say half past 4? Didn't I? Hang on a minute. All right, Pauline. Nearly finished, you know. We started at 1/2 past. We're going to crack on anyway. Pauline, we started at 1/2 past. I can't hear you anyway, but never mind. So, back on your first leg. What we're going to do, if you want to, for an additional challenge, when you push out, don't let the leg touch the ground. Push out and back down. And if you want a greater challenge, make it a little bit quicker. There we go. There we go. Beautiful, lovely, very nice. And relax there. Give those legs a bit of a shake onto the other leg, keeping your chest up. Again, if you want that additional challenge, keep your leg off the ground. Don't let it touch down. And even if you want to, try turning it into a balance exercise. So pushing that foot out and then bringing it back. If you want to, speed it up a little bit. Really working those hip muscles. Fabulous, good. Okay, and relax there. The pressure does build in that standing leg, so that standing leg's not being idle, is it? And then just give your legs just a little bit of shake, bicycle out. Have a breather just for a second. Have a slurp of water just for a second. I'm going to have a slurp of water. Okay, so moving down the leg, I'm going to do some strength exercises now for the lower part of the leg, your calf muscle, your Achilles, and this muscle here next to your shin bone, your anterior tibialis. So I'm going to start off by doing calf raises. Just going to adjust my chair slightly. So if you've got your support, I want your feet, please, a bit narrower this time than shoulder width apart. So they're not together, but we're not doing a big, not like we're sat on a horse. Sort of in between, what are we out there, about 10 to 12 inches or so. Posture, so we've got that separation, we've got that muscle memory of how our posture should be. And then I would like for you, nice and slowly, think about getting those heels off the ground, lifting them up as high as you can, but maintaining a beautiful straight body line. And then nice and controlled, lowering back down. So we're getting those heels up as high as you can. You'll feel those calf muscles, and then lowering back down. So as high as you can, lowering back down. By all means, if you want to, you can let go of your chair, turn it into a little bit more of a balance exercise, but that's not the main focus right now. I want you to think about those calf muscles. I want you to think about your posture, nice and tall. Beautiful, lovely, very nice. So something I'm going to do next, which I don't think I've tried before with you guys. I don't even think we've tried it in the live classes. Apologies if I have done this before. So we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to do those calf raises again. I want your hands on the chair for this one, because what I want you to do is I want you to bend your knees. So from this position now, keeping those knees bent, come up onto your tiptoes. And then lower those heels back down. So you'll notice I'm not squatting. I've got a bend in my knees. It doesn't have to be too deep. Coming up onto my tiptoes and back down. It's a bit like, oh, what's that fella from the Elvis? Coming up and then lowering back down. So this is just targeting those lower leg muscles just in a slightly different way. Might feel it also a little, I know I do, feeling that a little bit through my ankles as well and through my feet. I can really feel my feet working quite hard there. I want you to straighten the legs, just give those legs a bit of a shake. Back onto the normal calf raises, so what we're used to, nice and tall. This time we're going to come up, as tall as you can on those calves, hold that position, and then we're going to lower, wait for it, my count, we're going to lower to a count of 3, 2, 1, straight back up. Hold that position. Think of your postures. And then lower 3, 2, 1. Back up again. Hold that position. Hold it. And then lowering 3, 2, 1. So we're going to do that, but with knees bent. Okay, you ready? So bend your knees. Now lift those heels off the ground, hold that position. If you're wearing big, thick trainers, you'll find this difficult. And then lower 3, 2, 1. Keep those knees bent, heels up. And lower 3, 2, 1. Last one, heels up. Oh, feeling that. 3, 2, 1, and then straighten those legs. Give those legs just a little bit of a wiggle. So now, and I apologise, I know I've got the wrong coloured socks on, so it's going to be really tricky for you to see. I'll do my best to describe. We're going to do toe raises. Use your chair, because for this one, this is the one where our centre of gravity, our balance goes backwards, and there is always that danger of overcooking it and falling backwards. So please be mindful of anything you've got behind you. Use your support for this one. It doesn't have to be a balance exercise. I want your focus to be strength. So we're standing up nice and tall, we've got our posture. For this one, we're going to lift both sets of toes up as high as you can. And that means you've got to change your center of gravity to bring it over your heels and then lower those toes back down. I know it's not great camera work, sorry. Because I don't work for the BBC. Toes up, high as you can, keep that posture and lower. So gently rocking back, allowing you the opportunity to lift up those toes and lower, and again rocking back and up and lower. There's just one more for look, lifting up those toes as high as you can and lowering back down. Just give those legs a little bit of a shake. So we're going to add that more dynamic movement where we rock forwards and rock back. We're going to go onto our toes, onto our heels, onto our toes, onto our heels. Keep your body nice and tall. So we're not sticking our bum forwards and backwards doing this. Nice and tall. First of all, we're going to rock forward to come up onto our tiptoes and then rock back, lifting up your toes. So heels up, rock back, toes up. Remember, you're not pecking for seeds, so keep that posture, keep that length in your spine, use your support. I want this to be a dynamic strength exercise, not necessarily a dynamic balance exercise. Beautiful. You can if you want to. You can if you want to. Let go of that chair, but it's not a necessity. So just that movement forwards and backwards. Just a few more for me. Lovely job. And relax there. Give those legs a bit of a shake. How are we doing for time? Okay. So I'm going to do one more strength exercise, and then I'm going to do one final balance exercise, and then we're going to sit down. So the last strength exercise is sumo squats. It's one of my favorite squats. It targets the inner thighs. You've already today done a heck of a lot of work with your legs, and your knee joints and ankle joints have worked really hard. So just be mindful of that when you're doing this particular type of squat. Don't overcook it at this stage when we're near the end. Just take it easy if you need to take it easy. So the sumo squat is the one where we turn our toes out to the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock position. So first of all, you're going to take a big step out either side. So it should be an exaggerated position with your legs. And again, apologies, it doesn't make for great camera work, this. We're going to turn our toes out so they are at the 10 o'clock and the 2 o'clock position. There we are. So in a moment, what we're going to do is do the squat movement. The bum will go backwards. You're going to keep your back straight. So like we did at the very start, our back stays straight. We're not rounding our shoulders forward as our bum goes back. Your knees also want to go out to the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock position. I think that's it. Let's find out. So we're going to bend our knees. Our bum goes backwards. Knees go out. Bum goes forwards. Bum goes back as you bend those knees. Keep your feet flat on the floor and then push forward. I'm going to try and turn some different directions, some different angles. So as we do our squat, and then we push forward. Squat, push forward. So you'll feel a greater effort through the inner thighs, deep inside the groin as well. Keeping that back straight. So I'm not rounding forwards like this. The movement, I'm trying to aim the movement to come from my hips. Bending those knees. And remember, we're not letting those knees turn inwards. We're not knock-kneed and pigeon-toed. Trying to push those knees apart. Go with where you can. If those legs and knees are feeling a little bit tired now, then you please adjust the movement to suit you. You might just do a shallow bend. This might be it. That's absolutely fine. So just a couple more of these sumo squats. Nice and steady. Make sure you're squeezing that bum when you push forwards. One more for me, one more for look, as soon as it's Friday. And relax there. Give those legs just a little bit of a shake. So the last one I'm going to do is a dynamic balance exercise. I'm going to go back to the tightrope and I'm going to do the swaying forwards and backwards. So you've got your support. As always, I don't mind which leg you start off with, but you're going to start off in that tightrope position that we spoke about earlier on, where both feet are in a line. Both feet are flat on the floor. You are nice and tall. Your back's nice and tall. You've got your hand resting lightly on your support. So this is the one where we keep our chest lifted, but we rock forward so our center of gravity goes over our front foot. And then we rock back, keep that chest lifted, allowing the toes to come up with the front foot. So we're rocking forwards, rocking back. So you might not have been able to get on your cruises over the summer. This is the next best thing, isn't it? Rocking forwards and backwards. If it feels natural to lift the toes up or the heels up when you're moving forwards and backwards, then please do. And if you're feeling fairly comfortable and you want to let go of your support as you're rocking forwards and backwards, please do. So a good exercise is this, good balance exercise, good dynamic exercise, constantly shifting your own center of gravity. Your body has to adjust to that movement as you go forwards and backwards. Remember, keep your head up, keep your chest up. Just a few more. Hopefully you've not got that same building pressure in your hips that you had when you were doing the static balance exercise from the tightrope position. Okay, and relax there. Come off your tightrope, give your legs a shake. We are going to do the other side. So swinging that other leg now to be the lead foot onto your imaginary tightrope. Both feet in that line. Keeping both feet flat on the floor just for a moment. And you are resting your hand on the top of the chair. Chest up, thinking of your posture. And then when you're ready, gently coming forward first of all, feeling the weight transfer into your front foot, and then rocking back, feeling the weight come into your back leg. So coming forward, keeping your chest and head up, and rocking back. So it might feel different, you might feel more confident on one side compared to the other. So just take your time, feel it out, see how it goes. And if you feel like you're okay and you want to just release that hand off that chair as you're going forwards and backwards, please do. Nice and steady now. Certainly don't want any accidents at this stage when we're coming towards the end of this session. Nice and easy, nice and controlled, that's what it's all about. I lost it myself there. So just a few more sways. And relax there. Are we doing all right? All still with me? Beautiful, lovely. Just give your hands just a bit of a shake, then just give your legs just a little bit of a pat down. And then if you can, if you've got a suitable chair, have a sit down for me. And you're thinking, oh my God, thank goodness for that. There we go. How are we doing? All right. We just gasping. Right, okay. Stretches. That's all the hard work done today. A good mix, a really good mix of strength exercises and balance exercises as well. So you might be feeling that a little bit tomorrow. Let's do some stretches and then you can continue to hydrate and enjoy the rest of your evening. So sitting forward on the edge of your chair just to give you some space, and then extend a leg out as always. Get that leg nice and straight, and then point those toes back up to your nose. So you try and get that deep stretch through the Achilles and through the calf muscle. They've worked hard today with that the knee bend calf raises. They're a bit unusual. Point those toes forward to get the stretch now through the ankle and the shin. And then pulling back, getting those toes pointing at your nose. Fabulous, good. You can take the tension off that foot. You can put both hands onto your bent leg. Sit up nice and tall. And then as always, just gently leaning forward until you start to feel that gentle pull through the back of the thigh. And we're just going to hold this position for just slightly longer than usual, because those legs have worked hard today. I just want you to relax. And you might feel yourself just ease very slowly further into that stretch as those muscles start to release just a little bit more. If you take a big breath out, you might find you drop even more into that stretch. Lovely. And now pushing slowly back up to your seated position. Same leg, so this straight leg, you're now going to grasp the knee, And then pull up that knee towards your chest as high as you can. Give it a good old hug and point the toes up towards the ceiling, just to get a little bit more of a stretch through the calf. So it's a double hit for this one, stretching out the bum and hamstring with a little bit through the calf. And then easing out to that, we are going to do the other side. So extend your other leg out, get that nice and long, and then point those toes back up to your nose. Should be on some ITV game show, shouldn't I? And then point your toes forwards, getting that stretch through the front of the ankle and shin. And then pulling back, toes to your nose. And then easing the tension off that foot. Okay, both hands onto your bent knee, sitting up nice and tall, and then just being considerate that one side might be slightly more flexible than the other. Taking the weight of your torso onto this bent leg, leaning forward, enjoying that stretch through the hamstring. Maybe feeling it just a little bit through the lower back, maybe even into the bum. So just relax, let those muscles release all by themselves. Shouldn't be bouncing up and down, shouldn't be forcing anything now. And take a breath out, just to drop just slightly more into the stretch. And then gently pushing back up to your seated position. This straight leg now, grasping the knee, pulling up that knee as high as you can to get the stretch through the bum, and pointing your toes up towards the ceiling if you can manage that. Lovely, and relax there, just gently lowering that foot down to the ground. So a little bit for our upper body, still sitting up nice and tall, one hand in front of the other, and then push those hands out to the front to get that stretch through the upper back. And then relax, push away again, perhaps going just a little bit further this time. And relax, one more time, push those hands out as far as you can, stretching through the backs of those shoulders, in between your shoulder blades, upper back, and then relaxing out of that. Now for the chest, so put your hands the small of your back, or you can hold on to the chair if that's your preference. Pull back on your shoulders, press your chest forwards. Good job on widescreen, isn't it? And then relax. Pull back on those shoulders, chest out. And relax. One more time. A little bit further this time with those shoulders, a little bit further with the chest. I wish. And relax there. We're going to do the twist. And it goes like this. Oh, you're all on mute. Are you actually doing the twist there, Barbara? Right, okay. Got too much energy. One hand on your opposite knee. Other hand holds onto the side of the chair. Lengthen that spine. Then pull yourself around. Remember, trying to twist from the lower back and the middle back. You're not just pulling your shoulders around. You want the twist all the way from the base of your spine all the way up. We're going to add this odd neck movement in a minute. So keeping your hands and your torso going in one direction, your head is going to turn and look over your shoulder. So imagine your spine now is like a spiral staircase rotating around all the way from the base all the way up towards the neck. And then we're going to relax, unwind, come back to the middle. The other side, so a hand onto your opposite knee, hold onto the side of your chair or the small of your back, sit up nice and tall, pull yourself around, all the way around first of all, getting that twist through the lower back, through the ribs, keeping the length in your back. And then here's the spiral staircase analogy. So keeping your hands and your lower back exactly where it is, but your head is now going to turn and look over your shoulder. And then relax there, unwinding. I'm going to do the stretch for the lower back as well. This is the one where we fold forward. This is the one where if you do have any back problems, If you feel uncomfortable about it, then obviously just miss it if you're not happy. If you do want to try the lower back stretch, we're going to put both hands on our knees just to take the weight of our torso, just in the early stages. And then we're going to fold forward. So bringing our chest now down towards our lap until you start to feel that stretch through the lower back. Just relax now. Just let gravity help you. If you do want to drop your hands down towards your feet or your shins, so you get more of a stretch through the back of the shoulders and the upper back, then please do so. Then hands back on your knees, and then slowly pushing back up to your seated position. A little bit for our shoulders. I know we've not done any strength exercises as such, but you've been pumping those arms, swinging them around. So let's do a little bit, quick stretch for our shoulders. So an arm across the front of your body, hold onto your elbow, and then just gently pulling in on that elbow, just to maintain that flexibility through that shoulder. And then release, and then the other side. Across the front of your body, holding onto the elbow, and gently pulling in. And relaxing out of there. Shoulders up and down, and then roll those shoulders backwards. And I'm just going to finish off with the usual neck stretches. I'm not going to do the assisted ones today. So sitting up nice and tall, you're going to turn your head and eyes round to look over your shoulder. Remember, you're trying to just push that chin round as far as it will go. Keeping your back tall. Coming back to the centre, and then turning, looking over your other shoulder, pushing your chin around. And then coming back to the centre position. Then gently now, drop the head across to one side. And this is the one where gravity is our friend. It's going to gently just pull on your head so that you get the nice stretch down the side of your neck. We are not lifting our shoulders up. We're trying to keep our shoulders down. Coming back up and across to the other side. Then coming back up. Now lowering your chin to the chest. So the movement should just be coming from the neck. You shouldn't be sort of leaning forward from your upper back or from your waist. And then gently looking up now towards the ceiling to stretch out through the throat. And coming back down. And finally our circle. So gently rolling around. As big as you want to. Drawing a circle with your chin in one direction. And making that circle back in the other direction. And relax there. How are we feeling? All right. I'd like you please to give your hands a final shake. Give your legs a little bit of a pat down. And the most important bit, give yourself a round of applause for today. Well done. Oh, what a warm day. Warm day. Please unmute yourself if you want to unmute yourself, unless you're groaning in pain, in which case I don't want to hear that.
Thanks, Alison.
Oh, you're very welcome.